Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to wNS9 Plus. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we got Jim. We got Tyler. We got a special guest for the third time, I think, on the show. Could be fourth, but Trevor Cahill won the room of that. Once again, to remind you all, but Alex Stumpf from DKPS Sports. What's up, Alex?
Hey, we did get a signing today for the Ken Emanuel minor league deal, so there we go. You made that possible.
There you go. Ben Charrington almost ruined another show for us.
Also, why am I not in that? Hey, you're gonna redo the video, the intro video.
I have to.
You're gonna I gotta be in there. Come on.
We will redo it.
Now, if you watch it though, if we go back and watch it through, like your name's actually on it now, like with special guest Alex Stumpf.
So that's gonna show up the next time Fort or Ethan or anyone shows up as the guest.
What we're gonna do is keep putting words over on top of the last one. So.
All right. I like it.
It'll be like
if
a
you look
Cleveland
hard
Browns.
enough, you'll be able to see your name.
It'll be like a Cleveland Browns quarterback jersey.
Right.
Alex, who are you bumping off of that intro video, though?
Oh no, we're just gonna
right
add
now.
on.
Which person are you
bump
booting?
everyone off.
Oh no, you have to. No, you have to boot somebody.
Nah,
Is it Mackey?
Nah.
Are you booting Mackey?
Yeah, sure, we're booting Mackey.
All right. That's good. We'll do that then.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. Tell him it was me.
Will do. So, no, actually, I kind of like Alex's idea, though. We're not going to bump anywhere. Just keep adding. So that way, we get enough of these guest spots. That's going to be our show. Just our intro. Call it an hour. Wrap up. We're done. Easiest podcast in the world.
I can't wait for down the road. It's like special guest, Mitch Keller. Thanks, Mitch. That's all we have time for this week.
So are you telling us that you're going to get Mitch Keller on our show?
No.
I mean, if he wants that intro
rude.
spot.
Yeah.
I would just get bumped for Mitch Keller.
Exactly.
That's true. You know what though? I've maintained the stance that I don't really want to have players on here because I like, saying mean things about them if they suck. So I don't want to bring anybody on here because then I'll feel bad that we have to be nice to people.
I say mean things occasionally about people on there. People I like in that clubhouse, but it's like if you sucked, I'm gonna say you suck. That's my job.
Yeah, but do you have
You
their
get paid to
fathers
do
going
that.
at you too? See, Jim gets the whole family coming at him.
Yeah,
Jim,
I get the
Jim
parents.
deserves the whole family coming out after him. I'm not gonna give anyone any tea leaves of who it could be. I have had family reach out. I have had.
It was Walter.
Oh, man, this is juicy. I have had family reach out before other member of family participates in a playoff game. It's like, shouldn't your priorities be with the guy playing in October compared to what I'm saying? So follow those tea leaves, everyone. Have fun.
Anyway, your words got weight.
You won't get it, but still.
Andy LaRoche.
What's he up to?
I don't know.
Playing Donkey Kong somewhere.
We'll have to get him on the podcast.
We should. X-players are cool. We're good with X-players, but yeah, currently.
We could have an hour-long conversation about his nephew, Drake. Just following his dad around the clubhouse in Chicago.
You know who would be good to get is, with the New York Times article that just came out, John Jaso. I bet that would be a good podcast. A John Jaso podcast. Like from his boat.
It's a ham radio or...
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know what? I don't know how to get in touch with him. Might not have the best signal. Get a ham radio. I don't know.
Yeah.
John, are you there? Can you hear me, John? No, I would love John Jaso. That would be epic. But
similar
anyways,
hair to Alex right now. Alex is going for that John Jaso look.
Yeah. I thought about cutting it before spring training, but I'm too lazy.
They just go with the spring training vibes.
Yeah.
Jim's a big vibes guy right now.
You need a headband.
I'll tell that to Keith. I'll borrow one from him.
I have a few actually. If you want some, I'll bring them down in next month.
I'll break out the Devil Rays one that I got in that game last year.
There we go.
There was a, I'm gonna see if I can find it. We can put this. This is an exclusive for you guys. If I could actually find it, of me, Beer Temple, and Persac all rocking the Tampa Bay Rays headbands.
I think I remember this picture.
Then we see. Isn't this the picture I made the album out of?
Did you make an album out of it?
Yeah, it was an album cover.
All right, then I'm not looking it out for you.
But wait, no. Hold on. It wasn't you in it though. It was Persac, Beer Temple, I think Gorman, and Justice. That's the picture I have.
No. That's another photo. Okay.
No, that was like a Brian Hayes. That's what it was. Yes,
right.
we need this picture.
Yeah.
The Hayes one was better. It's like the Pittsburgh Pirates beat reporters enjoyed covering your team's loss, whatever.
That's
yes. Right. Yeah, it was a meme. That was good.
Yeah.
So for the podcast listeners, this is great content.
This is great conversation.
Yeah, Alex is just scrolling through his phone right now.
You guys host or something here. And I'll just mess around with my phone. It's going to be great content.
I mean, it just went dead silent. I just like people hitting their phones. Like, what's going on? Fast forward 15 seconds.
Someone entered at just that moment. Heard nothing
right.
For 10
I mean,
seconds.
granted, I make enough errors on this that it's not out of the ordinary that there's just dead silence at any moment. So
while you're looking.
Really appreciate that, Tyler and Jeff. Perfect execution.
I'm just not going to say anything.
We did used to do this to Jim all the time. We just go dead silent after he'd say something. He'd get so pissed.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. This show's already
terrible. We're
terrible.
So bad at this.
This is either the best or the worst spot I've ever had on here, guys.
Well, I mean, we got to follow up you on 93.7, and it's just not fair.
No, you guys got bumped. Big time bumped.
Yeah, we did.
Can you explain to us why, we're not your favorite? We're a middle child here.
Well, no, you're not the middle child here. You're the stepchild.
That's fair. That's honest.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
You're the stepchild where you're a teenager whenever I marry your mom, is what it is. Where it's like we'll have a nice relationship, a cordial relationship, but I missed a lot of time here. We're not going to pretend that didn't happen.
Well, I want my
dad.
And then Josh Roundtree occasionally would call on, and I have to cancel the fishing trip or push it back 20 minutes.
See, this is why we prefer Justice. He's a real dad.
By the way, why'd you stand up for Valentine's Day?
Oh, yeah. I have a good reason. I chose to do nothing instead. which is me, yes. But I also am not going to get a chance to do nothing until March because of how spring training schedules work out. Always going to be around people, always going to be I'm going to be fighting my introverted ways until March, whatever. So it's sorry, dude, can't compete. I got a couple weeks of nonstop socializing and working and blah, 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 blah.
I do have a question for you just as a beat writer. At what point in the season, what month do you wake up in the morning and think, good Lord, I don't want to do this again today? How long does it take you to get there?
Man, let me tell you, August last year was really rough. It was.
You got all the way to August.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everyone has days where it's I would really like to have a day off. I would really like to not do this. I'd really like to not have to go ask Will Craig why didn't he touch first base. Those types of days. But August, the Diamondbacks trip was just. I don't know what it was, but mentally, that was the worst trip I think I ever was on. And it probably was because the Castro cell phone happened. And I'm like, good God, I'm going to have to do this whole freaking trip asking people, have you heard anything about the suspension? Have you heard, is he going to get suspended Rudy. What the actual hell were you doing? Yuri De Los Santos' shoulder dies on that. Like every single day, just new crap piled on. And it's like, I could be anywhere else besides Phoenix, Arizona right now. That's a pretty
So, like,
low
you
on
also-
my-
Phoenix in August too. Not the best time to be in Phoenix either.
No, my shoes literally melted. Well, I was in Phoenix, Arizona. Like,
It's
For
hot.
real, for real.
Yeah.
for real. Like, I was walking, and I guess there was some fresh cream, and I took a step, came back, and like there was no heel to my shoe, my Converse. So it's like, all right, well, I guess I need to go get some new shoes before I missed the first
So
half of
since-
the clubhouse that day.
So since we're at the point where we're all kind of excited about baseball, in August, are you also like, I am so tired of baseball. I don't want to go home and watch baseball. I want nothing to do with baseball, because I definitely get to that point.
Yeah, I get to that point also that there are just some times that I won't watch MLB Network. I won't watch ESPN. And then, you spend time with your dad, and like, he's the reason why I fell in love with the game. He was my introduction into it, and he wants to talk baseball. And it's like, man. Okay, sometimes, but I'm doing this for you, not me.
There's a lot of irony in that because it's March and I'm already not watching MLB Network. But I mean, that's because I have YouTube TV.
I have Hulu TV and they're not on that either.
It's my time of the year where I go to bed to the MLB Network every night.
Yeah, I used to.
Great way to go to sleep. Quick pitch, fantastic.
Right.
Quick Pitch is one of the best programs on TV.
Whenever it's
Yeah.
working.
Yep.
Just speaking of, I don't even know if you have any insight on this, but just kind of ask you, complaining about my YouTube TV and not being able to watch MLB, Network. Do you have any insight or know what's going on with AT&T Sportsnet?
That is a damn good question. Honestly, I missed this all today. Like, I read about this like an hour ago. Like, what the hell? So
You're
I don't.
kind of busy. You're excused.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have any insight for right now. It's something that if we get Travis Williams or Bob Nutting or really anyone from the business side down here,
So
that's
no.
high up there. Your words. That's high up there for things I want to get insight into. But no, I'm sorry. I don't have anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of fill in.
It's-
Like, if no one's heard, it basically, the Bally Sports Group, they're just not even making their payments, apparently.
Yeah.
The AT&T Sportsnet, they made a payment this week,
On
but it
time.
was short.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates were one of the teams affected by that payment. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting story to kind of just follow as these next few weeks progress, because I know Travis Sawchik, who used to be in the market here for a long time, but he's been writing a lot about it today and how maybe this speeds up kind of the whole local streaming aspect that everybody kind of wants. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds.
I don't know long term how broadcasting games is viable without that. I mean, you could have it also on the radio. You could also have a cable, but like, if between Bally and what's going on with AT&T and Discovery, I think owns them, whoever it is, what are you going to do with it? Like, this is a lot of money on the line and a big portion of what teams use as operated income. So unless you're like the Dodgers and you have this great deal, can you really rely on this anymore? So I think streaming is the only viable way out. I'll revert to Sawchik for a lot of this stuff because he has done a lot of research and I'm shooting from the hip. But yeah, streaming has to be the answer, if not this year, in the near future.
I hope
The
so
league should
too.
just sell.
I just hope so.
I think the league, if they just straight up said it's $200 for the year, you get all the Pirates games you want to stream, it'd be like, that's a big asking point until you check cable and it's like, well, no, that seems about right. All right.
I do think you'd lose a lot of, let's face it, a lot of the viewers who watch this sport are older. So, you probably have a lot of people who they tune in on AT&T Sportsnet at night, and that's how they watch the Pirates, right? And it's not really maybe it's not even part of their schedule where they're looking to do it, but they're watching TV, games on, so they watch it. Whereas they may lose those people if they, if that avenue didn't exist.
Is that cause and effect though, or is it we don't get as many young people because there aren't good viable streaming options?
Another good point. I don't know.
Yeah.
You also have to throw in all the blackouts, and you have to get rid of that somehow.
Yes. Yeah. That needs to change. And I think the league actually wants to change it and I think they could probably change it now that they don't much care what the hell Bali thinks about anything.
Yeah, like I'm hoping this
You're
is
not
kind of
paying me,
catalyst,
screw you.
like you're alluding to.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Major League Baseball, you definitely would prefer that fans can watch their team, right? Like that's a goal of yours. I can't imagine it not being a goal of yours. So it's just something that's being blocked right now by these RSNs.
Hey, I'm one of these people that basically pay for cable just to watch the Pirates. I pay $115 a month basically for the Pirates. I would gladly take streaming.
Yeah.
And that's like how Jim said. I mean, it's my personal opinion on this, right? It's what I would do. I can't speak for everyone, but I do feel like a lot of people would say I'll pay more to get that. Just simply because, like you're saying, that that's the way. Like a lot of the younger generation, like that's how they watch. They stream. They don't have cable. I don't have cable anymore. I have YouTube TV, which is the only network. So here I am again in this situation. But like I think a lot of the younger generation, which I think is funny because on one hand, they keep talking about these rule changes and how they want to appeal to the younger generation by changing the game, but yet they're not allowing the younger generation to watch the game that they're changing. So what are we doing?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's interesting. It'd be nice to offer both options. Like if you can get it through your cable provider and you can stream locally, that's an ideal world. But we may be heading down the road where there are no local sports providers anymore. So yeah, we'll see. It's something to keep an eye on.
But anyways, we are 18 minutes deep into this. Literally haven't talked Pirates at all. Like today's the first day is pitchers and catchers reporting. We have Tyler. We have freaking Alex on. Yeah, unfortunately, we have Tyler on. Well, I can change that. So it's just us three. We have Alex on with us. But no, for real. Let's talk. First day, pitchers and catchers, you being down there. We'll get to the big news, I guess, in a second, right? Everyone wants to hear about Brian Reynolds. I know we talked about him the last time you were on, but just talk to us in general. I mean, the vibes down there for spring training, pitchers and catchers, what are you picking up on? Anything that interests you so far?
One of the things that was most interesting is how many position players I saw down there. Like ready, like they don't have to be here for a couple more days. Brian Reynolds was there like pretty much the first day that he could be. Hayes has spent a lot of time in Florida and was there pretty much as soon as he could be. We saw Peguero, Gonzalez, Jack Sawinski, Cal Mitchell, Travis Vardy, like a lot of guys who are in competition for jobs, maybe have something to prove, but also, the Reynolds, the Hayeses that, they're pretty set, for playing time and opportunity. So that's what really stood out, like impression-wise there, because besides that, it's a couple PFPs and fielding drills and maybe some light batting practice. There's not anything that's really going to scream that much until we get into games or at least, full squad practices. But that's one. The other one is I heard the crack of O'Neal Cruz's bat from like 10 feet away again. And it's, geez, man, it just has a different sound.
That was screaming.
It was incredible to hear. I've never heard anyone get that consistent thwack that you want over and over and over again. And yeah, it's batting practice, but like every single one was just perfect. Thwack, 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 thwack.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a great GIF.
That'll go great with the headbands.
Right.
That has some music behind there.
So who's in the best shape of their life?
Key.
Ooh, yeah. Good question.
Not even a question. Like that was dude, you guys are gonna be able to tell whenever games start on. Like he's really bulked up. He said only 10 to 15 pounds. I think that's a damn lie. Unless it's like 15 pounds and there's not an inch or an ounce that wasn't muscle out of it. It's all upper body. He looks stronger. He looks like he is set to tap into the raw power that he has. And yeah, there's a lot more that goes into that contact point, better mechanics, but he looks like what you would want a player to look like if they were injured all of last year. He looks a whole lot better. And also Shelty. He lost a good amount of weight. You can tell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't really hear the manager, best shape of his life comments. Here we are.
I'll say for him, maybe not his life, but he looks good.
Did he switch from the bourbon to a light or a clear alcohol?
We talked bourbon today, so I don't think that's it.
I mean, I heard
Yeah,
you
I
talk
don't think
to
he's
Reynolds
going away
about
from
some bourbon.
Yeah, he's building the bourbon room, which I didn't ask. I need to ask, I guess tomorrow or something. Like, what's the line of demarcation between bourbon room and bar in a house?
Bar he probably doesn't want to build because he's about to get traded.
You sure about that?
Well, soon enough.
Yeah.
Before he's 30.
Before he's 30? What is he now? 28?
Roughly.
Will be, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a horrible guess then.
So, Shelty looking
we doing
good.
this? We're ripping off the Band-Aid finally?
I was gonna say I've got it teed up. I've got Alex's video teed up here.
Oh,
All right,
I had
here
it
we
teed
go.
up too.
Oh, look at us. But yeah, so this is Brian Reynolds. And then I'm assuming, you guys kind of swarmed him as soon as you were allowed to, but here's what he had to say today.
And what was your level of communication with people in the organization? I mean, you hit with Andy, but players, Shelty, Ben, anyone, did that change at all after?
No, I mean, I still talk to some of the guys on the team periodically, just not about this, just about random things. I reply to Bednar's stories and tell him he sucked and stuff, and talked to Shelty a lot, kept him updated on, a bourbon room that we were putting in my house, and I hit with Haynes 3 days a week. The day before it all came out. So nothing changed from that front.
So that's the one about the bourbon room, right?
Yeah.
Then we had another one before that. I can't even find it. Do you have it teed up, Donardo? The other one? The other video?
This is why Donardo's the producer.
Yeah, I shouldn't. Yeah. I'm just going off of Alex's feed here. That was the
It was like 2 tweets later.
Do you guys hear it?
No.
Nope. You're doing great.
Hold on, this is coming through my speaker for some reason.
This is so bad.
I was so close to saying I was
Here we
really
go.
impressed with you guys.
Here we go.
Ready to go.
Here we go. I got it up.
This has never happened to me before.
And what was your level of communication?
No, that's the same video. Alex, why is that video the one? Hold on. All right. I think this one's
We're
it.
awful.
No, this one's only 17 seconds. Are you sure you tweeted this out, Alex?
Are you sure you?
This is why
Yes.
I went on 93.7 first.
Goodness gracious.
He has a point. It's a very valid one. Let me check my audio one more time.
It's 93.7 hiring.
Not you guys.
I'm not part of this part.
You know what?
I'm just
I'm gonna have to
talent.
bring up someone else's video, not Alex's, because I can't even find yours.
I tweeted
Sorry.
it 2 seconds later.
Is this really not playing?
That's the same video.
No, yours isn't.
Why is it
playing.
coming through my speakers?
This is terrible. This is
Here, I'll turn it up.
Jesus.
What is happening?
We can't hear it. No one can
Okay,
hear
Let me
here's what's gonna
paraphrase
happen.
for you all.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the video on my phone, and you guys are just going to deal with whatever comes through. Yes, Michael, it is going fantastic.
How about play the video from your phone? We'll get the audio through your mic,
Yes.
and then I'll play and
Yes.
we can match up.
Yes.
Be perfect.
Okay. Are we ready?
Let's get a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
I'm buffering.
I can't hear.
This is.
Are you putting it next to your mic?
I don't know where my mic is on the laptop.
Here we go.
What led you to the decision to ask for a trade?
I mean, not getting too much into it. I think just a difference in opinion. I don't know. I guess what we viewed my worth as a player, I guess, and that's where we ended up.
Has that been resolved to some degree, given that you're here, or is the request still stand?
I mean, no, nothing's really changed from that, that front. But I wanted to get down here early and get to work. And I was working with Haynes all off season. He came down here, so I wanted to hit with him and finally have a semi-normal spring training for once. So,
Brian, how do you?
There you go. Thank you, Rob Beer Temple, for having a video. Alex, I swear you didn't tweet one. You didn't tweet.
I mean, he did. That's where I pulled it from.
Up my video. Okay, hang on. I'm DMing it to DiNardo right now.
All right.
No,
Well,
listen, the problem isn't not having it. I have it.
No,
you
this
just
is a
couldn't hear
matter
the
of
audio from
principle
mine.
for me.
I pulled these videos from your tweets, both of them. I'll just say
All right.
this. As much as we screwed up, this is way more entertaining than anything Brian Reynolds has ever said. I mean,
It
can we
got
at least get that part right?
33,000 views. It got 33,000 views, Jim. It got one of them from you.
That's the video I played. The one you just tweeted me was the first video that I played.
No, it wasn't. Because
Okay, you know what? You're right. It wasn't. But this is also only a 17-second video.
I'm not giving Elon my best stuff. Screw you.
Is DK hiring any more podcasters so I can run away?
You gotta do a joint project with 93.7.
Oh man.
He's
Well,
gonna take that well.
Yeah. So that's what Brian Reynolds said, right?
DKTY.
So any sort of hopes that we had that that things were any different really from the last time we really heard on the Reynolds front, I think those hopes are gone. He did mention that his first option is always going to be stay here but get a fair deal, right? But we're not quite there yet. He said it in that quote. We have a difference in value. So yeah, I guess how big of a story was this down there today? Obviously this was the first thing that everybody kind of talked about.
Yeah.
I
I went into it saying like this isn't going to be the best thing I write in spring training, but this might be the most important. Like just in terms of what the state of the franchise is this year. This is the big story of the day of early spring training we heard for months only the Pirates side of this because Reynolds decided to make the request and then just stay quiet. That's fine. That was his prerogative. That was his agency's prerogative. But we hadn't heard from him on any of this, getting his side of what's going on. I think everything he said was pretty fair. And of course, a player is only going to say that they want. No player is going to say, I want a player-friendly deal. I don't really care about the organization or anything. But he stressed, like, hey, I want a deal that's fair to both sides. And those reported figures, at least on the Pirates side, you can see how he would view that as not really fair to him. So I don't think there was anything really big or sexy. Basically, everything that he said was more or less what I expected, what I'm sure a lot of other people expected of, no, the trade request is still there because I don't have a deal, but I'm here. I'm going to play hard. I'm not going to let it become a distraction for the team.
So I guess that's my question is you saw a lot today about the trade request still standing. The video that it took Jim an hour to find, it was kind of a non-answer about the trade request. Was there something else that he said he's still requesting a trade, or is it just kind of a feeling that nothing's changed?
No, that video was the only time him saying that nothing's changed in terms of the request. If he's, wants.
See, I don't know if I got that nothing's changed in terms of the trade request. I don't know if I got that out of that. Maybe I was just tired of waiting.
It's literally what I got.
It's not what I got, but maybe I just got tired of waiting and started playing on my phone like Alex earlier.
Then I'll just say that, yeah, it hasn't changed.
Okay.
I mean, the man said trade me, and he came out today and said nothing's changed. So that's what I took out of it.
Yeah. That's what you should take out of it.
Well, maybe I read people better.
I don't really know how anybody could read Brian Reynolds because he's just emotionless.
That is accurate.
I had to make that point. He looks disgruntled. It's like, that's Brian Reynolds. That's not disgruntled. That's just Brian Reynolds being Brian Reynolds.
He's just mad he has to talk to someone. He's like if Tyler were famous.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. He's like me. I hate people too.
You know what? Honestly, even that's not a great take because I feel like Tyler's even way better.
I am pretty entertaining.
We would never get this out of Brian Reynolds.
I also have to have 6 beers before I'm entertaining. So maybe we get Brian Reynolds in that bourbon room and we see what happens.
That's true.
You guys need to do an episode in the bourbon room. That needs to be the exception to the player rule.
Yeah.
That will get you on the intro.
I would allow Brian Reynolds on here because we don't really say too many bad things about him because he's good.
All right. I'm glad we've gotten to the point where Jim allows Brian Reynolds to be on our podcast.
I'll allow Brian Reynolds. If Brian Reynolds
was offered.
Actually, yes. Absolutely. I want Anthony Alford on here.
Alfred is a great dude. He would be a great podcast.
I'm sure he's a great guy.
You're not supposed to root for players as journalists, but we all have a couple guys that's like, man, if he could just be on the team, my life would be so much easier. And he was one of those guys.
If we ever were able to get Anthony Alford on, we'd all join just like this. And then quickly you would see Tyler disappear, myself disappear, and we would never come back. Just leave it to Jim and Anthony. See what happens.
I would have an excellent conversation with Anthony Alford.
I think Anthony Alford's on Cameo, if you want to go that route.
I think he is too. Yeah.
I know. I'm not lying. It's $20, I think. And I was this close to getting something from him talking about Jim. I still have a $20 credit, actually, so I could do it. Someone denied one of my cameos.
I wonder if the cameos will be. I mean, last year.
Who was it?
It's not that funny of a story, but.
Yeah.
I don't even know what this. It's a children's cartoon. I've never heard of it, but it's just the fact of having an actual illustration, like a cartoon saying, your Pirates or your team just lost to the Pirates,
You got rejected.
Your poverty franchise just lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I thought it'd be hilarious.
You got rejected by Arthur the Aardvark.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I wonder if the cameo stuff will be a thing this year because it got pretty good last year. I feel like.
I think we need to raise the game this year.
I agree.
The problem with the cameo was I don't know who else outside of Bob Nutting or Neil Huntington or Charrington or Shelton or someone like that high up that we could raise the stakes anymore. Whatever we got Derek Bell to say, David Bednar, Operation Shut Down Your Team, that got me right here. That was the moment where it's like we've peaked.
But that's what I loved about the whole cameo thing is the fact that everyone did one up each other. It started with what Matt Adams, I feel like, which was holy shit. First off, we're going to cameos. This is great. And then you just kept seeing everyone one up, like Derek, like you said, Derek Bell. We got Clint Hurdle out there saying it. You're talking about the Shelton and Charrington, like Clint Hurdle saying it's pretty freaking epic.
Hurdle was smart by saying series. Hurdle never got old, because best case scenario, you guys get once every 3 days. The Hurdle, your poverty franchise lost a series to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's true.
It's I love the Pokey Reese one, but that's just because I was raised by Ots Pirates baseball, and
I love
Who
Pokey.
doesn't love Pokey Reese?
Yeah.
Yeah.
sickos.
Pokey was great.
Another one. Get him on the podcast.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, yeah. We would.
the best double play combination of my lifetime. Jack Flash and Pokey. I don't care
think-
about your poverty
no.
opinions.
Was Pat Mears part of that for a while too?
I think Mears was before.
Would have.
I think he
Really?
he was.
We're going to take this down a bad rabbit hole when spring training literally just started.
Let's not do this. Yeah, this is going bad.
This is like Florida Marlins Roll 5 draft.
Yes. And then Tyler just like randomly spitting out batting averages, and this is going to be bad.
I bring out the worst in every one of you.
No,
we're
I just spit
bad.
out batting average no matter what. I get bored.
Pokey Reese, Tyler.
Oh, that's tough. He hit in the 220s. I don't know the exact numbers.
220s in the early 2000s also was pretty bad.
Yeah, he was bad. He had like a 53 WRC plus. It was bad.
But, them glove middle infielders, though, then. Add value.
Yeah, that's when it was. You were allowed to be a second baseman with no bat,
Now you can't even be a shortstop with no bat.
unless you're a Pirate.
Pokey Reese hit 215 in his last year as a Pirate, so that was pretty good.
Good job, Ty.
What was his WRC plus?
I got OPS plus as a Pirate 71. 2 years.
Damn it. Well, I said 53, but I was guesstimating. The math wasn't mathing. This is just a fantastic podcast, fellas. We're doing
Really
I
great.
don't think it is. We are doing
Wow.
fantastic.
He had an
I do wanna ask
81
you
here and a
something.
37 another. Wow.
That's right, Cliffy.
This just goes back to the, player in the best shape of their life or anything. I could be completely wrong with this. This is just a quick observation I had on a base of a picture. But Rowensy, does he put on a little bit of thickness to him?
A little. I only got to see him in passing today, but it looks like he's stronger. He needed to. I mean, that was something that they kind of gave directive for because they wanted to have another big bump in innings, and we saw at the end of last year that he got through the innings, but he was not Rowe at the end of it. He was pumping 93 and hoping for the best. So get him stronger, get more innings out of him. So it looked like he bulked up a little bit, not as much as Key though.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother level, but
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, because I thought he looked, like I said, a little thicker. And that, again, for what it is today, for what you can be excited for, and you can observe, that made me a little bit excited.
Another thing that you talked about today, in your article from about an hour and a half ago, last few years, a lot of opportunities, right, on the Pirates. This year, not as many opportunities, more competition. So I guess my question to you is, what are going to be those main competitions to watch throughout the spring training?
Second base has been brought up the most, and I think that's the sexiest in terms of the players involved. Like, I'm high on Castro, but I know a lot of people are high on Bay. Marcano was someone who a year or so ago was like, hey, this was a guy that the Padres didn't want to trade because they were going to use him to try to make a pennant run. That's intriguing. So there's some really interesting players there. I think that's going to be a good competition, but it goes to Castro. Bullpen, I see really only like 4 jobs that are pretty much guaranteed in this bullpen and 4 that are more or less up to some level of competition and plenty of guys in that mix. Like, I don't know if Dwayne Underwood Jr. has a set job. I don't know if Mary De Los Santos does. I don't know if the Rule 5 pick Jose Hernandez does. And compared to like a couple years ago where it's like, oh, well, of course the Rule 5 pick's going to be, make the team. That's why they took him. This year, not as guaranteed. Backup catcher is going to be one. Outfield is interesting because there's like 4 or 5 guys there that you can stake claim between Reynolds and Kutch, who's the third guy. Is it Sawinski? Is it Mitchell? Is Travis Swaggerty really a part of these plans anymore for this organization? So I'm looking there as maybe, if not second base, it's corner outfield. What happens in that spot out there? And then, of course, you go backup catcher, backup shortstop, whatever. But those are the three big sexy ones. Bullpen, second, I guess right field.
Is the rotation pretty much set, you think? Or is that fifth spot?
I think it is. The only question is, do they go with a 6-man at the start of the year? And with the amount of off days you have, and knowing that a 6-man rotation means you have a 7-man bullpen, I just see Johan getting squeezed out of it at the beginning of the year. Maybe they find a way where it's like, hey, we know we're going to have to manage Rose innings, and we'll piggyback, or he's going to be done after 5, and then we hand it over. Like, that could be something that they explore. But I think it's pretty much set with the 5 guys, unless someone gets hurt or something really happens. That's like, no, you cannot put Johan Oviedo in the bullpen or in AAA. People will riot in the streets.
If we're rioting over Johan Oviedo, we got some big problems.
That's true.
If
Honestly,
we're rioting over Johan Oviedo, we got an interesting ball season.
That's true. Yeah.
I personally think that Johan ends up in AAA to start the year because they're going to want to keep him as a starter, which I think is stupid, but that's just the way I see it going.
He looked good as a starter last year. Brief cameo, but
Eh.
How many guys are throwing 97, 98 in the 6th inning?
Like 3 on their roster right now in the rotation. That should be in the rotation.
Unique. That's unique.
Yeah, and this team stinks, and they got 3 that should be in the rotation right now that do it.
I will say, like, he had some good games. Like, I feel like there were like a couple like really dominant performances out of Oviedo, but then there were also other games where he just seemed like he had no idea where the ball was going, you know, and just huge command issues too, where he's walking, you know, a batter every inning, and you know, I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a starter, but I think his eventual landing spot is like a back end bullpen type of guy, but.
He could be.
He did look good in his. He made what 4? He made.
I think 5.
He made a few starts for the Pirates. Yeah. So, I mean, he looked pretty good there, but yeah, I don't know what to expect from him. I would be fine with anything, honestly. I don't think he should be in AAA, but he should be in the rotation or in the bullpen.
I'm okay with anything that keeps Vince Velasquez out of the rotation to start the year.
You're not Vince Velasquez build.
Like I'm not going to get up in arms about it. It is what it is. This team's still not very good, and they need to eat some innings. But I have no desire to watch that guy throw.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I think I might be Vince Velasquez build.
Really?
I just from what I heard, and they've got a plan in place, and it's very similar to the Quintana plan.
Okay.
And I'm not saying he's going to turn out like Quintana, but I kind of look at this guy like he could be a major league starter.
I mean, I'll go this.
The point if it's Oviedo could be a starter for years, while Velasquez is a starter for what? I get that if that's a counter, but
yeah, I'll put it this way: like I was a huge Q fan. I loved Jose Quintana, like his whole career, his whole White Sox. I mean, big Quintana fan, right? But I really thought he was done. You know, in the signing last year, I was like, whatever, he'll be in the bullpen. And like the spring training pretty much showed he was. Okay, this is a terrible player. He's not going to be good. He's going to be in the bullpen eventually. But like at least he was good at some point. Like Vince Velasquez never really was. But I mean, as much as we harp on the Pirates, right, and the pitching, like they have brought some guys in that have pitched well. It's like I'll give them the opportunity. But I think if anything, at least, which like Vince Velasquez presents, and we talk about like actual competitions this year. Like I want it to be a true competition. Like I want him to be there to push these guys, if anything. So like Oviedo's not being handed it. You know, Luis Ortiz isn't being handing anything. Burrows, like go down the whole list. Like they're not being handed, and they got to earn the spot now. So like if anything, that's what I like about the Vince Velasquez signing. It's not. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe not Velasquez pilled like you're saying. But at least there's like true competition. That's what I want to see go down is real competition.
And it's not ending in spring training. Like last year, they could have said, "Oh, we got competition at second base," and then they leave with Cole Tucker and Josh Van Meter, and then Josh Van Meter's here for pretty much the entire season for some reason. And
yeah,
you go on with that. Like this year, going just to second base again, for example. Mid-season, we should see Jared Sciolo, who's a minor league Gold Glover. We could see Peguero. We could see Nick Gonzalez. Like, that's someone in that group is going to continue to push and be like, you've got to perform at the major league level, because if not, Nick Gonzalez is hitting 320 over the last month in Indianapolis. Like, something's got to give. So I think that's where the competition, or at least why I'm buying it, because it's a deeper organization, it's a deeper roster. It's something that I think I might have hit a nerve during the exit interview with Ben Cherington, and I bring up, like, is a sign of an improving roster, using less players. He's like, are you asking me if we're going to set a record for most players used again? Like, in a very roundabout way, yes.
Yeah, maybe. Good players don't use 60 people, good teams don't use 60 people on their rosters. Yeah.
No.
Shout out
You
to your
don't-
Sporkle.
I would love to not have to do the Sporkle. I would love to actually to be able to complete the Sporkle. That is the funniest part, at least to me, that I make the test and then I take it immediately after and I miss a dozen guys. Like, I just punched all these names in. You think I would remember Andrew Knapp, but I didn't.
So I think I see it shaking out with Velasquez in the rotation and Oviedo in the minors, just because at some point you really do need these dudes to eat some innings, and keeping these guys on a starter pace is probably the best way to go. So that's just the way I see it going, but I don't see a true competition really happening.
Not for the rotation. I think that's the one exception to the rule. Because they signed 2 free agents who are going to be starters. Mitch Keller and Rowanzi are not going to lose their jobs no matter what. So it's like, okay, well, you got Brubaker, who leads the team in starts the last 2 years, so you got to boot him after he just signed an arbitration deal. No, probably not. Okay, sorry, Johan. I can see the minor leagues happening if they want to keep like a Dwayne Underwood or someone else in that bullpen. I could also see him start as middle relief and be, stretched out enough that he could go 4 or 5 innings at a moment's notice.
Like, at
I
some
don't
point,
hate that
Rich
either.
Hill is going to go down. It happens every year.
He will. He's not going to make 32 starts. Take that to the bank.
Well, I mean, someone's going to go. I mean, the whole rotation isn't going to make 32 starts. Like, you're going to need 7 to 8 starting pitchers, throughout the course of the season. And then if they do really like what they see in, in Velasquez, and they can make him serviceable, then you're probably trading him in July, right? So then you need another person to take his spot for the last 2 months. So,
the captain, thank you, sir.
But I'm not a big Vince Velasquez guy either, but I will give them a little bit of credit, because the one thing that they have been able to do these past few years is take an underperforming starting pitcher that they see something in, they make some sort of tweak, and they've worked out, right? Between Anderson and Quintana.
Anderson was always kind of
Anderson was never good before the Pirates. Like, he was a guy.
He had
He was a guy.
He had the same ERA.
He
had a 4.20
guy.
ERA with the Pirates. He had a 4.20 ERA everywhere else.
He bounced between the majors or bullpen and rotation. There's a big difference between having a low 4 ERAs as a swing guy and a low 4 when you're going 6 innings every time.
Yeah, but he did a lot with Colorado. I feel like a lot of us were on board with Anderson because a lot of stuff with peripherals he had, and like, I like the Anderson signing. I didn't like a lot of the other signings, but they've worked out. That's all I'm saying. I'm with Tyler on this one. Like, I think a lot of people felt Anderson had stuff with him.
They have done well on low value starters.
Yeah.
To Jim's credit, he's also true.
Dramatic
That's my
as
point.
Quintana, but he did improve. He is a reclamation success story.
Yeah, I mean, they took Tyler Anderson, they turned him into a guy who ended up getting a huge deal, like with the Dodgers the next year, and now he's parlayed that into even a bigger deal. So, yeah, I mean, that they took a guy and they made him who he is today. But they were able to do that with Quintana, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that with Velasquez, but I'm going to at least give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt in, hey, you see something in this guy, I'm going to at least give them a shot to show me if they're right. That's kind of where I'm at with them.
do you know what happens if Velasquez works out? Pirates once again become the where you want to go if you are a pitcher that needs a bounce back year. You're like, yeah, I'll take the cheap deal. Make me bank next year. Fix me.
True.
If they do that 3 straight years, there is
Yeah.
obviously something in the water. There's something in the analytics and the coaching and the mechanical, everything that they do that you're going to want to get a part of. And for a team that's hoping to compete in the not so distant future, that could be a nice swing. If you could get someone who will give you number 3 results for number 5 money.
And to think we wanted Oscar Marine fired 2 years ago.
Still undecided.
You wanted Oscar Marine fired. I haven't really written off Oscar Marine at all at this point.
Oh, I wrote that check and I put it in the mail.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I'm the
We
only
won't go
Oscar
down that
Marine.
rabbit hole.
I'm
but
the only non-Oscar Marine hater.
It's not all doom and gloom. I'll say that.
I don't hate him. He's there. He's a person.
You just said he should have been fired 2 years ago.
Correct.
Okay.
If he just keeps triaging things, correctly, we're all right.
Yeah, as long as him and Mitch Keller come up with the same idea to throw a sinker the same day forever, he's great.
Have you tried being good? I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Bingo. I actually do have a question here. Brian Reynolds talked about hitting with Andy Haynes in the offseason. Is that something that a lot of guys are doing with him, or are we seeing more of that?
I mean, Andy had touch points with everyone this offseason. He made some trips, and some cases it's just easier to do them. But like he had those touch points. But he and Brian live, not that far from Spring Hill, Tennessee, so they just both met up at the Hustle Factory baseball facility, and they hit 3 times a week. That was just a case of being in the right place for both. And I can say, I don't think I've written this up anywhere. I probably should. Like, Haynes was really impressed how he went through the whole process. And, the guy made a trade request, but he was still willing to work with me to find a way to get better. And that's kind of whenever I realized, okay, I now buy when everyone says this isn't going to be a big deal. He's still going to beat Brian Reynolds. It's like, that's what I needed. It's not just words, it's proof.
I do think it is interesting, though, that, a lot of these guys will go to their own little individual hitting coach, the drive lines, whatever other subsidies of Driveline are popping up, and Brian Reynolds is still just hanging out with the Pirates hitting coach.
Each has their own. Sometimes Key, big, he does a lot of this stuff just with his dad because he trusts him, and that's the voice. O'Neill Cruz, a lot of stuff is with his dad also. It's to each their own.
Brian Hayes might need to work with someone else.
He might. That's a fair point. I think this is the big year for, was he just hurt, or is he not getting the instruction that he might need?
Yeah, this is kind of, I think if this is a healthy season for him, a lot of questions will be answered this year, good or bad.
Hell, if he's injured again, I think a lot of questions are answered anyway.
That too.
That's a good
point.
Could
just be who he is.
Yeah.
Who drags his body to somehow put up 3 WAR all in defense.
Yeah.
Well, not if he keeps bulking up. Is he still agile, or what are we going to see there?
He's actually turned into a Buff Laundry this offseason.
Now, with no shift, he won't have to play shortstop, basically. So that's got to work in his favor a little bit.
He was fine at shortstop.
Right, but
he didn't do enough of that stuff.
It's just less. He has less responsibility now than he did probably last year.
He's also got O'Neill Cruz, too. His left, he's got a lot of responsibility still.
Yeah. Well, Cruz can also cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, they both can cover a lot of ground.
But yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Any non-roster invitees going to make the trip north other than a catcher?
I mean, guaranteed a catcher. I think someone in this bullpen mix is someone's going to get bumped, whether it's Hernandez, but Caleb Smith I've heard so much about Angel Perdomo. Like, he's got more run on his fastball than almost anyone else in the major leagues. Like, it's just,
Really?
yeah, it's crazy what he's got. So I think he's got to be someone who opens some eyes whenever we get into games. Like I said, catcher Chris Owings has got a shot of making the club. I don't think we're going to see anything. Yeah, that's a weird one, I think, at the end of the day. Like, I get why they did it, especially after trading Kevin Newman, but it's like, I don't see how Chris Owings giving him a roster spot at this moment moves the needle forward for what you want. Like, I would rather, if it came down to him or like a Yohan Ramirez, I'd rather have the Yohan Ramirez stash him in AAA and see what happens. At least short term.
Yeah.
Anything new on the G-Man Choi front?
He wasn't there today, so no, not yet. I don't know when that arbitration date is set. Tomorrow's going to be the first day whenever Charrington goes on the record, and I'm going to try to ask about, like, hey, where is he in rehab? Why did you object to him playing in the World Baseball Classic?
Just keep building that relationship, Alex. I'm sure he's going to love you.
Yes. By the way, he used 68 players last year.
I wonder if Ben Charrington could do the Sporkle quiz. I bet he couldn't. I bet he couldn't do it.
Is Ryan Valet going to be on the Sporkle quiz this year?
That's a good question. Maybe. I keep hearing how he's got infield capabilities, but we've not seen him at the infield in years and games. And like I said, we have one practice. Doesn't mean that we were like, why didn't he play third base today? But also, does he need to play third base for this team? Whenever you have Hayes, you have Castro, you got Triolo in the minor leagues. Is that really a desirable skill?
Who's going to be the backup shortstop?
Bay.
Gross.
Bay and like Castro and Hayes, and there's not going to be a distinct backup shortstop. Why is shortstop the position everyone keeps going to?
Because O'Neal Cruz probably won't be able to play there that often because he's going to make a bunch of errors. We all know.
He's going to make a bunch of errors, and he's going to hit a bunch of homers, and no one's going to give a crap about the errors.
Yeah, it's going to be like
my
Tatis.
O'Neal Cruz prediction.
Because every now and then he's going to need the DH just so we don't have to watch him play defense.
I don't know how many people are going to DH on this team besides Santana, Choi, and Kutch. Like, there's not a whole lot of meat left on that bone after them.
Yeah, that's actually pretty fair. But I mean, I'll just say in general, I mean, because there really is no other shortstop on the roster, like a true shortstop. So I think everyone's asking, I mean, what if Hayes? What if Cruz goes down? Like, who plays short? Like, that was our battle.
Down, probably Peggy.
Okay, well, there's like an answer. That's something we were talking about.
Yeah.
You know, like, again, like our internal battle at NS9, I wanted Kevin Newman gone because I don't want him taking up any plate appearances from the young guys that you want to see to help develop, like the Bay, Castro's, Cruz, and whatever, right? But it's a real question. Like, what if something happens to Cruz, or when he doesn't need a day off, like who plays short? And I think they all have their opportunities of being able to play, but. So you think probably Bay, Castro, and Hayes, Castro, you think?
Maybe a little.
That's interesting.
It's in the realm of possibility. I think it becomes a lot easier if Triolo is up in the major leagues, which I don't see happening until mid-season anyway.
I like that, though.
Well,
Hayes, your backup shortstop.
There you go, Michael. There's your answer. You said
mid-season for Triolo. I'm not too optimistic. He didn't get the chance at AAA last year. He got hurt at the wrong time. I think you have a puncher's chance if he would have spent those last couple weeks at Indy and done well. But I think there's a clear preference of, hey, take a little more time. You got some growing to do.
I like it.
Speaking about Cruz and a lot of home runs, we had a question on him earlier, but we saw a little bit of video today. Cliffy asks, Cruz's swing seems more compact in videos I've seen. Thoughts? I guess what were your thoughts? I know you said the sound of the bat, but anything like jump out at you about anything different with O'Neal Cruz?
I didn't notice anything. Right, I'll keep an eye on that, Cliffy. Going forward, nothing really stood out to me immediately. I'll also say this is batting practice at Bradenton. I kind of want to see what happens whenever he takes the really bad swing. Like, what's the rehab or what's the bounce back for it? Like, how that's the sound of maturity that I want to see along with him. And I think there's no other way to simulate that than games, even spring games. Like, just go that way. But I didn't notice anything offhand. Nothing major. You might be right. You might be right. I also only watched like one round.
There was also a Termar Johnson swing question here. Was he there today? I didn't see any videos of him today.
He was. He and Cruz and Reynolds hit, and then very afterwards, it's like, okay, Bednar's pitching. Okay, something. Yeah, there was a lot of running around today, so I only got to see like one or so rounds. A lot of these guys, but if it is a one-handed swing, I guess I need to ask him about it, huh? how he's grown.
It's probably pretty fun seeing O'Neal Cruz stand next to Termar Johnson. That's probably like a Judge.
I would love
Altuve.
that middle infield so much.
It'd be like that Judge Altuve, like that picture.
Two guys who combine both hit over 30 home runs as middle infielders, and there's a foot difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
Shit, foot and an inch. Oh, I know what I want to say. And I don't think it was anything from you guys, but just to touch on, seeing people hit. Henry Davis. I know he was also one coming in this year. I mean, health injuries, right? He's a guy that you would want to see in the majors this year at some point. He and Endy, obviously. So I don't know. Tell us any update, any story to Henry Davis, health wise, and then just skill wise.
Yeah, he's. I literally only said hi to him today, but I caught up with him, really in depth at the Arizona Fall League, where he opened up like, "Hey, I do feel fine. I was frustrated with the second injury, but it's all good now." He had to rediscover his swing in that time between the end of the season and the Arizona Fall League, because you make so many concessions during a regular season. You make so many small changes whenever you're not 100%. That he goes down to college and his old college buddies are there. Like, that's not your swing. What are you talking about? Like, things just move a half inch, a half inch, a half inch, a half inch, and until he realizes he's 3 feet away from where he was at the start. So he's figured that out. He's grown. He looks like he's in good shape. Like, he's healthy. That's the important thing. That's the most important thing with him. He needs to put in a healthy year. After, like, last year wasn't his fault, but you still got to put in the year now. Very interested to see how he goes, but like, the swing is where it was coming into the draft rather than the end of last year, where the results might have been fine. They might have been good, but it wasn't the approach that he was a number one draft pick with, if that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah.
And I guess I feel like a lot of people, I mean, you look at the prospect list, a lot of people are kind of down on Davis after last year. That one poll came out where he was named the most overrated prospect in baseball. So I guess are you hearing that from people that you're talking to? Is that just like they asked 20 people and 4 of them said Davis, and that was the name that came up the most? I mean,
I wouldn't be worried about him. I think everyone kind of knew what they were getting in Henry Davis, that, hey, this is a guy with a very high floor. And worst case scenario in a lot of cases is he's a good major league hitter. I still have heard reservations about the defense catcher long term, even though he's built more like a catcher and can probably handle it better physically than Endy over the course of a full season. There's a lot to still see, but I haven't heard anything of just someone saying like, no, this guy isn't a good prospect. Like, even the people that are like, he might be overhyped, are still like, but he'll be a good hitter. He is going to provide value. And I think that was always kind of the floor with him. Like, okay, if he doesn't stick a catcher, if he doesn't do anything, he still is going to generate power. He has the power that if he goes to first base or right field, you really don't blink too much at it. It's just missing out on all that bonus value of doing it at a premium position.
I'm just going to take this opportunity again to call him Kyle Schwarber 2.0. He ain't sticking a catcher. He's going to be fine.
That's not a bad pick. I don't think he mind being Kyle Schwarber either. He hit 40.
I would take Kyle Schwarber 2.0.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. I know I'm not complaining. I'm just saying he's probably not going to stick a catcher, but he's going to hit.
Yeah.
The defense probably, the value defensively is not going to be there, but you hit, who cares?
Along other first round Charrington picks. Not so good news out of Nick Gonzalez if you're a Fangraphs reader lately, but make or break year for Gonzalez. I mean, does he have to do something this year?
He's got to be added to the 40-man at the end of the year, and I think that's a pretty safe. He'll be added almost no matter what, but just because he's a first-round draft pick, but he needs to show something. There were stretches last year whenever I heard he can't hit the fastball, and then like a couple weeks later, well, he's not hitting the breaking ball. That's the real issue. And there was some inconsistency, not being able to be on the field all the way through. I think he did do some growing during the foot injury while he was away. I don't think that was wasted time. I think that was time just away from the game. Figured some stuff out about him. One thing that John Nunnally, the hitting coach, brought up to me in Altoona last year is like his hands are so quick, it can mess with his timing. Whenever there's like breaking and off speed stuff versus, fastball, because if your hands are really going through the zone that fast, you've got to time it up at the perfect point. It's a weird thing to explain, but it's like it's a very constant hand speed, and that's where he gets so much of this power generated from. That whenever he faces different velocity, whenever he has to make those adjustments, things could get out of sync so fast, and that's why we see the high strikeout rate. That's why we see stretches where he's just not slugging the ball.
Sounds to me like he has no pitch recognition.
I haven't heard that, but I suspected if that's an issue. Especially
big brains here, Alex. Me and you.
You know what? We need to start a
hire us
together. Yeah. Come on,
hire us.
All right, we'll leave now.
But really though, if hey, oh, thank God, finally.
Yeah, the good half's here.
But really, though, if your hands are too quick through the zone, that just tells me you aren't recognizing the pitch quick enough and your timing's off because you don't know what's coming.
It's also maybe, getting your hands through the zone quick is a good thing.
It is.
Yeah. It's one of those, your strength can become a weakness. And
why are they back? Go away.
All right. That was the best part of the episode.
Shoot.
Okay.
But quick hands is great. But if you're not recognizing the pitch, that's way tougher to teach than quick hands.
Yeah.
So, I'm not as high as I was at one point on Nick Gonzalez. I think coming out, it was, this guy's going to be a major league hitter no matter what.
Yeah. That's what I heard also. And I think last year was whenever MLB Pipeline said he's the top second base prospect in the league. It's like, okay, that's a choice. I'm not going to pretend I know every single second base prospect or even really most of the great ones that intimately, but it's still like we saw some red flags last year. Number one prospects shouldn't swing and miss this much unless you're like Joey Gallo, which he has great line drive power. He could hit 20 homers in the major leagues, I think, if he got a full season. But he strikes out enough that it's like, does he have the OBP that's viable enough to make that possible? Plus, I don't think he get a whole ton of value from his defense.
And COVID obviously slows things down.
COVID did a number, I think. That was supposed to be his introduction.
Yeah, because I think if without that, you throw that out the window, you would hope he'd already be here. He'd be banging on the door at the very least this year, and I don't know that that's even a hope. I think it might be a September call-up type deal, which just won't happen. I just don't know that we see that.
Why wouldn't it happen? We saw it with Bay last year. We saw it with
G1.
Different circumstances.
I guess he is kind of at that prospect level now where he's not really considered that top guy.
I think
So
Gonzalez
maybe it's
right
more
now,
likely now.
Yeah, Gonzalez, I would say right now is very similar to where Bay was this time last year, of like that fringe top 10 guy.
Yeah, I guess that might be fair. All right, should we invite them back in?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I guess this is Donardo's show.
Oh, don't put this up there. This is your
There we
show.
go.
You get up top.
That was a great face.
All
Welcome
right.
back, guys. Anything you want to
Thanks.
ask?
I'm good.
I threatened this earlier.
guys got it.
I'm sending this to you, Donardo, by the way. Casual scrolling, I finally found it.
What? You sent me the video finally?
No, I sent you the what I
Oh.
paused this podcast for 20 minutes over
Oh, geez.
to bring it all full circle. That's me in a headband.
There you go. That's how you're supposed to wrap things up. You
Yes.
take it back to the beginning.
Take it back to the beginning, and you hit the major theme of the episode, which is no one here can work the freaking show it on screen technology.
Exactly.
There we go.
There we go.
There it
That's a
is.
good picture.
Looks like Cobra Kai.
Persec finally gets on the podcast.
I missed that fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe Bob Nutting ran him out of town for his.
You know
know.
what? That was just. That was a good day.
That nutty.
He was just
No, but for
reporting
real.
too good.
Your hair right now? Yeah, you need that headband.
Yeah.
I probably do.
Your hair looks mighty sweet.
Tell Rob
Sweet.
to unblock me.
Sure.
Thank you. I mean, we did a podcast together, so like I feel like your co-host should probably get unblocked.
It's your show now. Don't forget it.
It's our show.
That's right. That's right. It's your show. I'm along for the ride.
Can I also just mention real quick that Bucko Mike doesn't realize that calling Henry Davis Ryan Dome at 2.0 is not the worst thing in the world. Ryan Dome could hit.
Right.
He hit
Because we didn't
303
know
in
what
one
pitch
year.
framing was
Alex.
with
Yeah,
Ryan
I'm not
Dome.
talking about defense. I'm just talking about hitting.
Yeah,
Ryan
if
Dome
you-
could hit.
You plop Ryan Domit in the majors today, and he's one of the game's best DHs.
No.
Dude could hit.
No.
He hit 303 with over 500 slugging the one year. I think it was
Okay,
2011.
I'm yelling at Jim right now. No, he's not one of the games.
Dude, 2011,
Shohei.
he had a 131 OPS plus. 2008, 127. Like, the dude could hit.
Yeah, what was his average that year?
3.8. He had 318
Oh,
in
318.
2008
I said
and slugged
303.
501.
I said over 500.
Yeah, that was pretty solid.
Yeah, Ryan Doma could hit.
2011 hit 303, slugged 477.
I'm pretty
in
sure I was thinking of
2011.
Ronnie Paulino.
But I'll say this: it
Nobody's
wasn't as
thought about
consistent.
Ronnie
Like, I mean, it's
Paulino.
still not what you want to see, but like you're saying, it's not the worst thing. Because here's the thing, too: Domit lost a lot of value because he's a terrible catcher, and if
Oh,
Henry
terrible.
Davis is that level, he ain't catching. So therefore,
Right.
he'll still have positive WAR.
Right.
That was my entire point. Like Ryan Domit's not an insult. Ryan Doma could hit.
Right.
If we're just talking about that part of the game, Ryan Doma could hit. If Henry Davis hits at that level and plays first base, fine. I'll live with it.
I love how
Not fine. Like,
no one's
not
really on
fine.
board with this, but no one's.
I think
passionate
Davis
enough
needs to
say
show
no, it's
more.
bad.
Yeah, Davis needs to show more like home run power. Like, you're going to need 20 plus home run power out of Davis.
If Henry Davis has a 130 WRC plus, are we really going to whine?
No,
no,
not at all.
Okay,
but be more consistent than Domit.
sure.
all.
But Ryan Doma was also hurt.
But I'm with
constantly.
you. The point is it's not that big of an insult like you're trying to make it out.
Domit, by the way, and Jason.
Yeah, I'll take 40-year-old
Godoy.
Domit over Jose Godoy. Jose Godoy at
Godoy.
times last year looked like he'd never seen a baseball.
Jose
At
Godoy
times,
is
it was the
worst
only
hitter
times
I
he was
have
in the
seen.
game. It was all the times.
He's the worst hitter I've seen as a Pittsburgh Pirate. I don't care about the stats. Just like looking at what his mechanics actually were. It's like, how did you get this far? What are you doing? What the hell? I don't like picking on guys like that, but that was ugly, bad. I would cry if I was Andy Haynes.
I wouldn't have dude hit 318. Who cares? You can
He
look
didn't
like a
knock it
paraplegic.
318.
We're talking about Jose Godoy.
Oh, my bad. I
Tyler.
thought we were still talking about Ryan
Yeah.
Doman.
Jose Godoy hit.
I'm not gonna lie. I got distracted by the one guy that asked Alex to ask Bednar who had the best mullet on his high school team and was talking about himself. So apparently, Alex, you have to ask him about Cliffy.
Yeah, all right.
Oh,
I'm doing a podcast.
You're welcome,
An episode
Cliffy.
of a podcast where Bednar is going to be the guest for the week. We're starting off at the DK Pittsburgh Sports, where we're just going to have a player come on for a 10-minute interview. You get to hear me.
There we go.
It's called The Interview.
Yeah.
We're going to start it this weekend, I think. Bednar is the first guest. Tune in, everyone. That's called me plugging. You do it an hour and 16 minutes into the NS9 Plus show.
So it's kind of weird that you didn't invite your co-host to that.
I was just going to say that.
It's a little rude.
Don't invite me. I don't like current players on. I don't want to talk to current players.
Like,
We'll make an exception for Brian Reynolds, though. If you get Reynolds
Yeah,
on,
I'll make an
you can ask
exception for
Jim,
Brian
he'll decide.
Reynolds.
Alex, who are you doing that podcast with?
DK Pittsburgh Sports.
Yeah, but like Wagner Cut just kind of hanging. Kind of a big deal around these parts. I have 1,500 followers.
Oh, okay. You know what? Bednar's week 1, you're week 2.
That's big.
The
I don't know,
pitching
man.
ends up.
You got local pitching legend, and then you got local pitching coach legend.
Local pitching legend to follow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't accept being number 2. It's kind of rude.
All right.
Especially when
Well,
I'm
anyways.
supposed to co-host it, but whatever.
Sorry.
Any last things? Anything else you saw that we haven't brought up? That you wanna
It's one
talk?
day.
Just dying to get off your chest, day one.
It's one day. I think this year is better than last year. But last year was a grind to get through.
Real
Turning
quick,
in the right direction, boys.
Vegas has the over/under at 67.5.
Over. Hammer it.
Yeah, I'm smashing the over.
Hammer it.
Let's be real here, guys. This team had -3 WAR out of first base last year. And they add Santana and Choi. Two guys who should by themselves probably account for about 2 WAR. That alone would take a 100 loss team to 67 wins. If no one else improved and they had to go through the waiver wire churn again, it would be, 67 and 95. So yeah, take 67.5 over.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's exactly why I feel too. I mean, I'm not out there touting 75 plus. Like this isn't a team that's really going to go out there and compete in those. It's a team that's going to compete in the sense of they will play baseball. Last year, there's a lot of moments where they couldn't play baseball. So like when we talk and say the word compete, it means they're competitive in the desire of wanting to win and having skill, but they're not going to compete for like a division, right? But I'm with you. Like 70 wins to me just seems like, very, very doable, just for all the reasons you mentioned. And then we're not even talking about some additions of Cruz getting better, also there for a full season. ND can potentially come up, and we know what the catcher position is. Like he should add value once he gets there. So yeah, 70 wins to me seems very easy. 66, smash it.
I've got 75 and 87 this year.
And I could definitely see that.
In my opinion, if they do not win, if they're not pushing for 75 wins, Derek Shelton's out of a job.
He might be.
I think he should be. Honestly, if they're not at 75 wins, he should be fired.
I mean, there's
Obviously, there's
a
nuance with
way.
it.
Yeah, there's a way that you could have a good 68 win season and a bad 75 win season.
Like everybody gets hurt.
Everyone gets hurt. The guys that need to take a step forward. Rookies do well, but you still win only 68 games. I see him coming back. If it's 75 and he is being dragged by his teeth by G-Man Choi's revenge tour that he couldn't play in the World Baseball Classic, that's a different situation.
I'm here for the G-Man Choi Revenge Tour.
That'd be a great band name.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
I'm gonna work on that graphic.
All right.
Yeah, every homer.
I'll make sure I get the headband on him too.
The Tampa Bay headband.
The Tampa
Yeah.
Bay one, right?
Yeah.
Sweet. So then I guess when we're down there, March 19th, 25th, we'll have to meet up and we'll talk about some real baseball.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
And since Tyler won't be down there, we'll be your guest that week.
Okay.
Sounds like a
have
deal.
fun.
I'll hold off on episode 2 until you guys are down here. Like, we wanted Tyler to be the guy.
Can't make it.
You'll be
I
down
was
there.
too proud.
But all right. Well, Alex, as always, appreciate you coming on. You and your beautiful, majestic hair. But we'll see you. We'll see you again soon. Keep us updated on everything.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course. And for everyone
No,
else,
thanks for
appreciate you
coming
guys following, watching along. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
See you guys.